It is honestly exhausting to listen to yet another digital nomad influencer romanticize the exploitation of local communities under the guise of a cultural exchange. You frame 15 hours of unpaid labor a week as an amazing deal for free housing, all while ignoring that you're likely taking away opportunities from locals who actually need that work for survival, rather than just using it as a fun way to pad or pay your travel itinerary. It is deeply out of touch to call this a local experience when you're essentially just another transient visitor treating a foreign country like a backdrop for your own self-discovery, while simultaneously plugging your affiliate discount code to profit off the very platform facilitating this dynamic. That is a comment that I got last week under my video about this work exchange. And my first reaction originally was to get very defensive and go, no, I'm doing this the right way. This is all fine. But of course, I also thought about it a little bit. And I don't fully disagree with that comment. Thank you for listening again to the Out of Office Club, where I talk about the digital nomad life, full-time travel, and what that is like. I am currently sat on the floor of my work exchange. I'm actually free today. I walked around, got some food, got my nails done. It's been a really nice day. But I wanted to talk about this topic, which might be a bit more of a touchy topic, and also not one I have all the answers to. So for some reason I felt the need to just sit on the floor and have like a chat about this, really, because I also, of course, want to know other people's opinions, see how you see it. But first of all, the situation here. Yes, I'm doing a work exchange in Taiwan, as I explained in that video, and I'm working about 3 hours a day teaching English, and I love it because it gives me free accommodation in exchange for helping out at a school, and yes, for me, a great way to learn and kind of integrate more into the local culture and community. Then I got that comment, which made me think, and specifically for this work exchange, it's a one-person school, just one owner. She does not have the funds to hire someone. Her English is good, but it's not great. And basically she needs a native speaker or a near native speaker to help her out, because some of her students have better English than she does, but she cannot afford to pay someone. That's why she does the volunteering, and she's been doing this for a long time. So I personally do not feel like I'm taking away from any jobs for anyone, because there isn't really one to have. She needs someone, can't pay for someone. I am okay working for free in exchange for staying here for free. So, but that's of course this specific exchange, because I think what the whole comment was about was not this particular exchange. It's of course about something I think much bigger, something much more interesting, because it's of course not the first comment that I've gotten about how traveling is bad, how digital nomads are bad, how we're ruining everything. So that is what I actually want to talk about in this episode. So I know that me traveling, me going anywhere, me being a digital nomad, that has an impact. There are many countries, cities, small places where digital nomads have, or travelers, I want to say too. It's not just the digital nomads. I think it's tourism in general. Spots that we've found, that we've made very popular, that we've then flooded, kind of made it our own, and of course that increased prices, rents went up, locals got pushed out, and I think the thing often that made that place worth visiting kind of was ruined and started disappearing. And of course that is not something I like or agree with. Personally, I also try not to visit those places where I know it's basically just a bunch of Europeans on an island. For me, that it has nothing to do with traveling. I want to go somewhere for the local experience, for the local people. Of course, I am also not perfect in this. I have been to places that have gotten very popular with travelers, digital nomads. and I have liked them. I can see the appeal. I 100% get why people go to those places. But I think for me, it's not my preference, at least not right now or ever. But it's not why I travel. You know, I feel like, yes, you can go to Bali and I would probably have a great time. And I do not in one bit judge anyone who's there. But I do feel like it's just become so popular, so kind of overcrowded, not so much what it was 10 years ago, that right now it's not pulling me there. I would rather go to a different island to explore that might be a bit more untouched. But then on the other side, I also feel like people traveling, moving and exploring, and also countries and places changing is a normal thing and not necessarily bad. You know, a city, when there is an influx of tourists, in the end generally gets more money, better infrastructure, better services, things are being built. There is a certain opportunity to it. The only problem is that it's not the change that is the problem, is that basically only one group truly benefits from that, and that usually is the travelers, the digital nomads, the people with more money that came there to spend their money. They benefit most, and not so much the local people. They get more pushed out. They don't have the same opportunities. They don't have the same money to spend. They can't keep up, basically. So they get pushed out, and the people with more money that came from different countries where there's just different opportunities, more to earn, they then come in and take up that space. So that is, of course, the flip side of it. I also know and have seen that tourism can do good things, but there's always, you know, a limit to everything. And I feel like in a lot of places we have hit that limit, or it's just not been controlled well. I don't even know how that would look, to be really honest. Like, I don't know what that would be like. But I do see it that in some places it's just all geared towards tourists, and all they do is in tourists. And then as soon as for example, with COVID, tourism stops, they lose everything and they have nothing left. Or it's so geared towards tourists that there's just not much culture or meaning there anymore, and a lot of the locals have left, which just makes it a very hollow experience, I think, which is not worth it. But then again, I am a traveler. I do travel full time. I am a digital nomad, which means, yes, in a large part, I am part of that problem. I do go around and I do travel, and I do not make places popular, but I do talk about places, or I go to places that are popular and I show them. And in some ways it can help, in many ways it cannot. So there's a couple things that I personally try to do and be mindful of, because I know that I have an impact and I want to try and make a good impact wherever I can, even though it is difficult. But I feel like going to any place, there's always choices that you can make that would make your impact good or bad. And I'm not saying I do these all the time. Again, I am not perfect. I'm trying my best. But I do try and eat local. You know, I go to the local spots that I find around me, especially if they look cute, if they look empty. If I heard from locals that's a really good spot, I go there. I don't only go to the popular European-owned cafes. I try and eat local. I have a good balance, I would say, in both. Try and shop at the local spots, go to the markets. You know, I try and spend money there where I know it's going to go to the locals, if I can help it. And of course, the very basics that you need as a tourist is that you need to be respectful of the place that you are in, the people, the culture, their way of living, their kind of standards, how they do things. Just do as the locals do, try and blend in, be respectful. I think that's the least you can possibly do, although I do still often see people, especially it's mainly the tourists, it's usually not the longer term travelers, but the tourists who do become a bit entitled or don't really respect the place. And I feel like if you do not agree with how something is done in a certain country or place, don't travel there. There are places that I don't go because I don't agree with how they handle things, how they treat certain groups of people, how they act, what decisions that they make. So I don't go there because I know that I am going to be a bad guest there because I don't understand it and I don't agree with it. And I don't want to feel that way when I'm in someone else's home country. So I don't go there. And if there's something I really don't like, it's not, in the end, not my culture, not my place. So I try and respect it. And then if I really do not like it, I leave. It's not in the end, not my responsibility either. But I just try and be respectful as much as I can. And is that perfect? It's definitely not. I am still traveling. I'm still spending my money in other places. Of course, I'm always going to be a visitor somewhere. I will never fully integrate or be of so much use to a community, but I am trying my best to get to know the people, to be respectful, to just learn about their culture. And I always find it interesting, these people that give me these comments. Very often it's very negative, it's very one-sided, and it usually also comes from people who don't travel themselves, because I can tell you from all the locals that I've met, I can't even remember a time where I've met a local and they were angry at me for being there. They were always very interested also in my culture and where I'm from, and then we have a great conversation and we share things and they show me things because they're proud of their home country and their culture. So I personally, that's why I travel. That's what I love so much. So I know that I am adding to a problem. And am I solving anything by going to local shops or shopping local or trying to, be mindful of it? Definitely not. But I do try, and I am aware of it, and I think that already helps at least somewhat. I don't want to be ignorant of the impact that I have and the influence, I think, that all of the digital nomads together can have in a place. So what is that? Kind of, where does that leave me? I don't really know. Like, there's not... I'm not going to stop traveling. I know that for sure. I just think you have to be mindful and responsible. And of course, any place that you go to is not just a place that you can use as, what did he say? As a backdrop for your own self-discovery. No, I go there because I want to learn about it and I want to be respectful of it, and because I enjoy being there and I want to learn about it. And it's just small decisions that I do try and make everywhere I go, to make sure I don't start feeling that way, that I don't take it for granted, that I'm aware of my impact in places. And I think that's all I can do at this moment. So I do not have a great answer, I think, to that comment. It just really got me thinking and I found it interesting. I don't think anyone really has the answer. You can't stop people from traveling. You also can't say it doesn't have an impact. I also don't know how to make it into an only positive impact everywhere in the world. So I think for all travelers, just be aware of it, be respectful, try and see if what you're doing is genuinely hurting or taking away opportunities from the locals, or if it is supporting it. And I think as long as you're doing that, that helps. But I also would love to know your opinion on this. What do you think? How do you think that it could be better? It could be worse? Do you travel full time? And if so, how do you feel about this? Do you not travel at all? Maybe you're from a place or country where this is happening and you see it happen. How do you feel about it? What do you think would help? I don't want any hate on this video or make it be bad. Like, I'm trying my best to just have a conversation. So I'd love to know what you think. Again, I talk about what digital nomad life is like, what full-time travel is like, solo travel every single week. So if you're interested in that topic, you want to know more, you want to see what it's like, then follow along on my channel. That'd be great. I post new episodes every week about it. Thank you again for listening. I know this was a bit of a different topic than maybe my usual video. I hope I did a decent enough job of expressing my thoughts. And then I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye bye.